Over the last 96 years of Makerere University, the Gold leadership has been dominated by fiscal campaigns and fiscal elections as a model of electing student representatives. Fiscal campaigns and fiscal voting stopped in 2018 on Honorable Katerega Julius, the 85th Guild. His successor, Honorable Sempija Ivan, was voted under a hybrid process where he campaigned physically and his voting was both physical and online. The 87th Guild President, Honorable Shamim Nambasa, was also voted using the same yardstick as her predecessor, Honorable Sempija. The 88th Guild President, Honorable Alionzi Lawrence, physically campaigned and his voting was entirely online.
We are first campaigning outrightly physically. We even had rallies, you remember. It was just a day to the voting when the elections were cancelled. And then we went in to have some 4 days of campaigning, then we voted online.
Whereas the current 89th Guild President, Honorable Maseruka Robert, campaigned online and also voted online. In sourcing students' perspectives about the university's new move in the electoral process, different opinions arose on how students currently view their Gold electoral process.
Having some electoral participant who is convincing you online, we are voting people we don't know. We are voting people we have never met. I think these online elections and online campaigns should work elsewhere, not in Makerere.
The network is poor, and some students that didn't update their biodata are not allowed to vote, and then that couldn't happen if we are voting physical.
Physical election is good. It takes little time. You gather, you make a line. It's cheap, by the way. It's also cheap. It doesn't take any time. Even it needs no energy to suffer like today. We have been suffering, checking no portal, going to the link of voting. It's off. So this physical voting is good.
In the news, in some primary school, kids were voting, like really voting, expressing themselves. Democracy was there, they were voting. Then as mature people, adults, we are failing to do that. We are being controlled in the online voting, which is not okay.
Of course, we have to move, globalization, digitalization. In a digital world, the online elections they reduce expenses. You get it? Another thing they ease the process, though they are being used by people with selfish interests. You get it? To promote their interests. You get it? Because it is very easy in this era to hack into the system than physical elections. However, at the end of the day, I'm not a supporter of democracy because democracy is a fashion of capitalism. It is a fashion of liberalism. It does not bring to power capable leaders and transformers, but it brings to power orators. You get it? It brings to power the rich, but not the visionary leadership. I'm not a supporter, I'm not a believer in democracy.
Honorable Natari Margaret, who was disqualified on grounds of holding a fiscal campaign, believes that the university has not reached the capacity of holding online elections.
This university is not a virtual university, first of all. So you can't say all activities of the university are physical, but when it comes to elections, they are virtual. We've not reached that. Yes, modernization is fine, but as Makerere University, we've not reached the capacity of holding virtual elections. Okay, we can vote online, but you can't say all campaigns are supposed to be virtual. It is really impossible. You see, even when the day the EC tried to have a virtual Twitter space for candidates to talk to voters, they had 23 people online. So imagine you will have to get 23 people to talk to for how long? How many people are you going to cover to reach all the students in Makerere University? So I believe, yes, we want the virtual way, but we are not yet there.
Physical campaigns outrightly cognizant of their weaknesses or what people will consider bottlenecks of physical elections are better than online elections. Secondly, I think where we are as a university, we are better placed for physical elections compared to online elections, and I'm weighing those vis-a-vis against what we call as a bedrock for any fair and transparent election. The verifiability, whether you can justify the elections, the transparency, and all those are better met in physical campaigns.
Drawing his analysis, Alionzi Lawrence, the former Guild president, further explains the challenges that will come with the quality of leaders in the next Guild House.
I mean, how do you campaign online to 40,000 students of Makerere scattered across acres of land that you can barely find in class? I mean, if you go to a class in Makerere University, normally the attendance is less than half on a regular day. And even then, you're not allowed to go to that class because that's physical campaigning. So how are you supposed to campaign? Call for a Twitter space, how many will come and have Twitter accounts? Start a video call on WhatsApp, how many will do and know that you're actually campaigning there? It was very difficult on the part of candidates, but also second on the part of the voters. I think the 89th will suffer deficiency of quality of leadership, because then anybody with a pretty face on a poster is voted for, because we don't get to hear from them. So a lot of mediocres are hiding behind pretty posters, posing as leaders when they are not, and we are voting capable people out because they can't afford nice posters or don't have good graphics people to get themselves nice posters. So I think we suffer deficiency of good leadership, but also most importantly, if as Guild President you vote for me online, am I going to serve online? University council meetings are physical. You're going to speak to the public physically, yet you're going to campaign online. It is easy for you to hide behind the camera when you're with your producer and make some sound and raise the students. It's another thing to stand in front of 1,000 students trying to campaign, you're being good, but you still make your point and convert some people. That CV, that campaign period itself is still something incredible in you as a leader. I think the process is just as important as the years you spend campaigning to be whoever you want it to be. So online elections are difficult for everybody. The candidates, because you can't campaign, are difficult for the voters because they can't pick the right people, because that is not an avenue to pick the right person.
The campaign, obviously it's hard to reach out to people because we have been barred from holding rallies. We are struggling to look for students one-on-one. It's vigorous, but of course we as leaders, we don't want to over-complain. We're trying to deal with what we have. When they give you lemon, you make lemonade out of it. And we're trying to reach out, holding Twitter spaces, trying to use TikTok, using different digital media platforms to ensure that we reach out to the students. So far, so good.
Well, it is such a hard campaign, I would say, because we have detached ourselves. All candidates have detached themselves from the congregation, from the audience, and yet we need that touch with the students. They need to understand what we have, what we are talking about, why are we actually contesting, why in all students we feel we are the best to lead Makerere University. All these things are missing. Why? Because we are just making posters, posting on Twitter that we are the best candidates. But students need to understand the content we come with. We do not just come from different backgrounds, but we come from a background that is based on Prorata student based.
However, in a conversation with Levi Shirumba, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, he applauded the online election for being cheaper, especially to the candidates due to the different benefits it came with.
Oh, online elections are very cheap. Like way cheaper than the physical, because everyone has access to a mobile phone, literally. Okay, you cannot say at 100%, but a very important percentage of people have access to mobile phones. There is free internet, albeit it's not everywhere, covering every square kilometer of the school, but there are hotspots here and there, and there are many. Meaning for someone to access your manifesto, your message, your video, the internet is already provided for by the school. Your mobile phone, you have it. You cannot live without it. Now, with physical elections, that was not the case. With physical elections, there was a lot of money for different things, printing posters, paying people that are going campaign for you, doing this, doing that. People would contract debts, put their houses on sale. This is not happening anymore. Another plus for this is that there are no nomination fees. The insane amounts that people would pay at first are not there. Anyone is free to apply. So I believe all these are things that honest analysts can see and really say, yes, there is a stride in the positive direction.
Criticizing the online process wasn't the only issue students of Makerere focused on, but they also advised the university management on how to better the University Guild election to ensure democracy and transparency.
right now we are doing an online election, but the number of police that are in campus are enough. If we had done physical election, still the security would be there. You can put security in Freedom Square and a person can vote and get out freely without being violent. And then the counting, you do the counting with a few people. Still, I don't see the issue. Security is not the issue.
They made the roadmap and they were like, all of the political parties should meet in one place. You can't organize Museveni and Bobi Wine in the same ground and you expect peace. So it's the mistake of the administration. They should sit, get capable people to draft what is needed.
And my overall management is that after serving with them for 3 months, I do not believe that all members of management are as evil as we perceive them as students sometime back. But also secondly, I want to note that many times the intentions are actually good. But just because the intentions are correct doesn't make you right. Secondly, the feeling of the students about the university matters. How do you think Makerere feel right now? Betrayed, pushed in the corner, no right to speak, they feel abused. People are hating the university. I get it, and that counts. The universities in America, where there's a whole department for the feeling of students. Well, it seems like Makerere will have a department that is working against the feeling of the students. My point is, physical elections are not bad. The element of violence in them is bad. Makerere University, after 100 years, cannot convince anyone that they don't have capacity to solve violence within physical campaigns.
Condemn whatever happens that leads to death of people. Like for a student that died, it is not really good. But then when someone dies, doesn't mean that, okay, just because there are a lot of divorces happening, doesn't mean people are not entering marriage. You understand? Even when you know people are divorcing, tomorrow you see people just getting married. So when such an incident happened, all we have to do as a university is to find ways of minimizing such incidences. If a few people cannot control themselves, put management there, put police, let people have virtual campaigns but in a controlled manner. But you can't just wake up and be like, no more campaigns because someone died. Do you know how many people died in the 2021 elections? Didn't we vote?
At Makerere University, it is hard to talk about guild elections and forget to mention the influence of political parties.
I want to tell you guys that now you are the target. This regime is so scared of young leaders, is so scared of fearless leaders, is so scared of aggressive leaders, and that is exactly what you people are.
I was told to apologize before management for having been the NUP flag bearer. And this is one of the reasons I'm out of that race, because I stood for what I believe in.
The university management has always tried to ban political parties in the elections, but this is how students feel about it.
That after 3 years here where you're denying me to participate or affiliate to group, I am immediately going to join group in the main front. Are you getting? When I joined, I found the UYD, which is the youth wing of DP, and it had almost attributed a critical amount of students who had a sense of belonging ideologically. So I think that is important.
That means if they remove political parties in Makerere, they should be removed in Uganda. So that's where we are going. After you participating and associating with the political party in Makerere, the next move is the national level.
We have been eaten up by capitalistic forces. Yeah, you can see the fashion of politics in Makerere. We no longer vote ideas. We no longer vote ideology. We vote who can make ruckus. We vote who can make comedy. And yet leadership that brings transformation is not based on ruckus and comedy. For me, I'm suggesting that let's vote ideology, someone who has brought visionary leadership.
Joel Senyonyi, the National Unity Platform spokesperson, who is also an alumnus of Makerere University, advises the administration to support the student leadership regardless of their political beliefs and ideologies.
I've been encouraging the administration, don't strive for these young people. These are leaders, they have been elected. Allow for their leadership to burn. Tomorrow these are national leaders, yeah, so don't try and strive for them simply because you saw them in a picture with Chakulanyi, with Senyonyi, with whoever. They are allowed by the constitution to freely express themselves politically, and otherwise they're above 18. Okay? So wherever they belong politically, why should that be a problem? Let them belong wherever they want to belong. While they are here, let them serve. Allow them to serve.
I, Robert, swear that I shall discharge my duties as the Guild President of Makerere University with all honesty and to the best of my ability, abiding fully by the Constitution. May God help.